Well, welcome YouTube. This is Burning Metal. Tonight we are going to be discussing a wonderful pocket knife, folding pocket knife, and that's the point of this pilot episode, we'll call it. Tonight we are going to be looking at the TwoSun TS 258, a Wong design, a knife that stands on its own. Haha. It is a stunning design. It's kind of out there. Some really great plays on angles and shapes, and that plays into kind of the execution and function of this knife. So I will say a lot of people will maybe get a knife like this and get very angry right away because the detent is pretty tight, and there's also an issue of just learning the ergonomics of a knife and learning that sweet spot that deploys that blade in terms of the top flipper, the back flipper, and especially the thumb studs on this knife. So I can see a lot of people would get a knife like this and be very frustrated at first because you have to learn the ergonomics of your utensil, and then you must build that muscle memory to understand its function. So with that said, I have no problem getting a knife where you really have to learn it and break it in, and I don't mind a little bit if the detent and all is tight at first. You'll work it in over time, and I think that just maybe adds to the longevity of the blade. This is case by case basis. I have a lot of knives with buttery smooth, operation right out, but this one is just, this is the nature of the beast that we're dealing with, and she's a wicked little beast at that. So let's dive in and take a look at this TwoSun TS 258, a Wong design. So right off the bat, we have this really cute, pointy, angled, perfect ergonomics, excellent slicer, both utilitarian and otherwise. Would be very effective in penetration. Titanium milled deep pocket carry clip, frame lock, G10 overlays on that titanium, great jimping. All in all, just a fantastic design that I love. And once you get used to this, I mean, the function is great. The top flipper, as long as you get it from the bottom, don't try to get it from the top. So if you're up here, it's not going to deploy, but if you're right there, it's going to launch and engage. And fantastic, this grayed out metallic blade. The gray just matches the gray of the handle scales. Great, not quite gunmetal, but then we have that red G10, a striking look. Then we come to the thumb studs. Again, a case, if you're coming from the sides or the top, it's going to give you a lot of resistance, but if you launch it directly from the bottom, it deploys with authority. So again, just you got to know the ergonomics and the angles of your utensil. So what a goddamn good looking knife. D2 blade steel, Wong design. These are made in China, so TwoSuns are a kind of batch made, and then they put them up on eBay and you bid on these, and this knife was $60 some, and what a great value for what you're getting. And it's ultimate execution, design, and quality of materials, and pretty goddamn tight specs. So let's give you a little size comparison. Maybe if we get down the road, I know a lot of people do weight and blade length and yada 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 freaking yada. Just look at it. It's a cool fucking knife. So that's all that really matters. We'll put it up next to a Kershaw Leak. Pivot to pivot. You can see it's a much more substantial blade in handle, so a lot more real estate to deal with, and just a totally different ergonomic in terms of the angle of the blade and handle, and I absolutely adore this. So, man, my hat's off to you, Wong Design, whoever you may be, he, she, I don't know, but that's one of my favorite knives I've got in a while, and really appreciate it. So with that said, cheers to Wong Design. Let's take a look at maybe another TwoSun in comparison with the TS 258. We have a night morning design. Really appreciate this knife as well. Kind of that same Warncliffe sheep's footy style blade. Again, titanium, micarta overlays. This big, really ridiculous titanium clip, but I really don't mind it because it gives me a solid reference point, and it not too bad of a hot spot where it is. Good jimping, nice titanium backspacer too. A lot of attention to detail and well executed. You can spidey flick this knife, you can thumb flick the knife, or you get that top flip. And this one, unlike that one, anywhere you hit it, it just seems to launch out there and look good. D2 blade steel, great knife. Pretty comparable and substantial in its size to the TS 258. This happens to be the TS 145 in D2. This is a night morning design, so great looking knife. So this comes to the point of this big debate. You know, I used to collect and try to buy American-only knives, and as of late, you know, there's been a lot of things that have hit. I'm new and late probably to this TwoSun game of buying knives from them. Very impressed with what they're doing, but Civivi, their sister company, Sencut, and even TwoSun's has their sister company, which is Six Leaf, and I happen to have this Six Leaf SL, 21. Great looking little blade too. Lovely all titanium handle, milled pocket clip. That great sheep's foot, classic razor style blade, and pretty much backflip or top flip. Getting used to these. I haven't had many top flip knives like this, so pretty cool. This one falls along the lines and size of a little bit bigger, but maybe not too much. Just probably a hair more on the blade length than the leak. So really great example of design from these TwoSun knives, Six Leaves. There's a big debate rolling around out there right now about Chinese knives and clones and ripping off designs, and I'll say this when it comes to that subject, since this is the opening of this, and I've highlighted some really cool knives that I think are giving credit due and original coming out of China. So good example of that. But there's the issue of cloning, copying this or that. I think a lot of people need to take their head out of their arses and realize that we're dealing with basic shapes here. You have Warncliffs, drop points, clip points. There's some very common basic blade shapes that humans have been playing with for hundreds and hundreds or thousands of years in a lot of cases. So I kind of liken this to the fact that, you have, I'm a guitarist as well as a dork and collector of many things. You have some very basic, iconic guitar shapes that have been copied, emulated for quite some time. And, if you have a design and a certain sonic signature from said design and shape, which is pretty basic, you realize that it's going to get used over and over again. Same with knives. So as long as a company isn't trying to copy and counterfeit your brand directly, if they're making a knife that is, you could even call it a clone, but if you look at some of the things that are out there, they're not 100% one-on-one to, say, their American-made counterparts. So as long as there's just enough distinction to take it as a compliment. We're talking about rudimentary basic shapes and design. So, and even with that, you got a great example of somebody who was so goddamn creative, and their execution and understanding shapes and geometry with this knife. Absolutely fantastic. So, in conclusion, it's great. We live in a great day and age if you collect knives. So, with that said, hope you guys like this, and give me a like, subscribe. We're going to refine this, keep banging some of these out. This is the pilot episode, and school.